only two in this room that understand the importance of the Cane River mud pie and Natchitoches meat pie from Lazio's in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So with that, I'll invite Ed Orgeron, the head coach at LSU, to join me on the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner St. It's always great to be a part of SEC Media Day. I'm proud to have Rashard Lawrence, Devin White, Austin Morrow, three outstanding football players on our football team, three outstanding leaders, and three great football players. It's kind of hard to choose three. We'll have so many good leaders at home with these guys, and we have great representation of the LSU Tigers. At LSU, we're excited, we're anxious to start fall camp. After having such a great summer with Tommy Moffitt, I can't thank Tommy Moffitt enough and his strength staff for enabling us to do the job that we do as football coaches. But he does with our team on a daily basis, one of the best in the country. On offense, I'm so excited that Steve Nesmaker, our offensive coordinator. As we all know, he took over interim coach. Steve's offense broke 7 school records in these games. He spread the ball around. He put the ball in our playmakers' hands in space and let them make plays. Great game day call up. Able to make adjustments, game plan. We're excited to have Steve Nesmaker, a former LSU Tigers quarterback, to be offensive coordinator, along with Jerry Sullivan, our passing game coordinator, one of the best in the country. We're happy to have Jerry. James Greg's offensive line coach has done a tremendous job already with our offensive line. We'll be very strong on offensive line this year. Tommy Robinson has done a tremendous job with our running backs and training our running backs. And Mickey Joseph, think about this, Mickey Joseph recruits the city of New Orleans for us. In Mickey's first year as a recruiter at LSU, he brought in the #1 wide receiver class in the country. I'm so proud of our offensive staff and what they're going to bring. If you're thinking about what we're going to do at LSU, we're going to be a spread offense, leading from 3 wide receiver sets, 4 wide receiver sets, sometimes 5. We'll be 50-50, throwing the football, running the football. Steve's going to do a great job of that. Some key competition in the fall camp, obviously, is going to be at quarterback. The addition of Joe Burrow has added to the competition that we already have at quarterback. We feel that Justin, Miles, Noel are 3 excellent quarterbacks. We're going to let this thing play out and let the best man win. Like I said, we're excited about our young wide receiver corps. We're excited about the young freshmen we brought in. I feel like we'll be very strong on the offensive line, led by Eric Brumfield. Our tremendous guard has a lot of playing experience at LSU. Excited about David Lewis, young offensive guard brought in from junior college that is strong and he's physical. At running back position, we feel that we have 2 or 3 outstanding running backs. They haven't proved themselves yet. Clyde Evans-Helaire, Nick Brosette, and I want to see what Chris Curry gets to do. So on offense, we're excited about what's going to go on. Excited about everything that's happening with Coach Hensley and his installation of the offense. On defense, obviously, Dave Aranda has done a fantastic job. We feel like we have the best defensive coordinator in all the land. And you're going to see more of Dave's defense this year, more of a blitzing attacking style. We feel that we have 2 of the best defensive players in the country returning, Devin White, linebacker, and Treaty Williams at quarterback. We have a front 7 that's going to be able to rotate with 2 deep, led by Rashard Lawrence, who's here with us today, and then Gillian Chestnut, outside linebacker, who's going to take Martin Key's place. We have to find another quarterback. That quarterback position is going to be exciting to see in fall camp. We brought in Terrence Alexander, a graduate transfer from Stanford, who's going to have an opportunity to compete at that position. Calvin Joseph, one of our top signees from the state of Louisiana at quarterback. John Trey Kirkland, and Kerry Benson will be excited to see who is going to be that other quarterback. On special teams, I'm excited to have Greg McMahon be able to coach in a full-time position. Last year, he was an analyst, and we're excited about the signing of Cole Tracy. We feel that Cole's the best graduate transfer kicker that we can get out there. We're excited to see him again and see what we can do for us and earn the starting spot at the kicker. Our 2000 recruiting class right now is very strong. I've seen several times that this is the best recruiting class in the state of Louisiana over several years. We have some very strong commitments in our class right now that's filling some important needs. One of the best things about this class is that we have young men from the state of Louisiana that help us recruit this class to make it very strong. We know that we have to finish very strong. We're excited about the direction that recruiting's going for this class in the 2020 class. Any questions?
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We have Victoria, Amanda, and Jean Louise, and we'll get some microphones too. Okay, we'll start here in the center section. Please stand and give your name and affiliation. Edgar?
Yeah, Coach. Edgar Thompson, your Orlando Sentinel. Do you feel like the intensity of the Florida-LSU rivalry has really picked up these last couple of years since kind of the Hurricane Matthew fallout, the goal line stand, the one-point game? Do you feel like it's kind of at its peak right now?
Well, what I know is by being from Louisiana, my history with LSU, it's always been an intense rivalry. So whether it's intense or not because of those circumstances, I can't say. I'll tell you what, it's about the intense rivalry we have, and we respect the University of Florida, and we look forward to going to a very good Florida team at Gainesville again this year.
Coach, we'll go right here to the front, the left, Ron.
Yeah, RonHammersMiddle.com. Ed, do you feel like you're more settled this year? I mean, this is your staff with our 8 of 10 coaches. You've got 2 recruiting classes. Do you feel like there's not a lot of guesswork on your part going in?
No question. That's a good point. We have the staff that we're going to go to battle with. I trust these guys. I've known Steve Ensminger since 1979. Obviously, Dave Aranda is very well proven to be a coach at any level. And Greg McMahon is one of my best friends in coaching. So, along with them and the great assistants we've had, one guy in mission on defense is Bill Bush. He's been a 5-star coach for us. He does a tremendous job of recruiting and allows Corey to coach the quarterbacks, and those guys can share the nickel position. So we're more equipped to be able to compete in SEC. We have 10 analysts this year as opposed to 9, so we're giving our coaches more information, our players more information earlier during the week. So yes, I feel more comfortable and I love coaching LSU.
Coach, we'll go in the center aisle, just to our right. Right on up.
Jordan Hill, the Columbus Ledger-Enquirer. You mentioned Coach Ensminger. Just what were the things you saw as you were making the move for the full-time position of offensive coordinator? If they convinced you that he was the man for the full-time?
Like I said, you know, the year that we took over interim coach, I've known Steve back. I was Steve's graduate assistant football coach at McNeese State University of Columbus, and I've known his ability to lead an offense, his structure, his communication to the players, and the respect that he has. In our first game against Missouri, he set all kinds of school records. And he continued to do a great job. And I said to myself that Steve is worthy of the coordinator position at LSU. Circumstances were different when I got the job. I went out and tried to get the best coordinators in the league. And possible for our football team, it didn't work. And all the while I was saying, you know what, Steve Ensminger is the guy. If I have a chance, I'm going to hire him. I have complete confidence in the direction that he's going to lead this offense. He and I are on the same page.
Okay, Coach, we'll go over here on our right, way back.
Harrison Valentine, TigerBait.com. Coach, not many teams have the luxury of a guy like Devin White. Can you speak to the impact of having a leader like Devin on your team, on the field, but specifically in the locker room?
He's a tremendous young man with tremendous character. And you brought up a good point. He leads the locker room. After I lost to Troy last year, Devin White became a vocal leader along with Rashard Lawrence and other people. He's the reason that we got to turn around our season last year along with his teammates. So he's done it before. He's prepared to do it this year. We have a very challenging schedule. That's why you come to LSU to play best. We We have to start very fast, and Devin is ready to lead this team. Great things.
Coach, we'll go over here on our left, on the far right.
Robbie Andrew with the Games of the Sun. Coach, how big was the winning Gainesville last year? What are your thoughts on having to go back a second year in a row?
It was monumental. It was monumental for the point of the season. Where we were at, a very good football team. You know, he missed extra point. They're very good kickers, you know, and that gave our team confidence. And what happened on the sideline is the leadership of the team came through. We're winning this football game. And that catapulted us into a great win against Portland. So that win for us last year was monumental to prove that we could go and beat Florida on the road in a hostile environment. I'm looking forward to going back there this year. I think Dan Baldwin is an excellent coach. It is going to be a tremendous challenge for us. But again, that's why you come to LSU.
Okay, we'll ask you to stand. When you ask a question, we'll go over here to the right, alongside the far right.
Travis Brown, Brian Competition Eagle. Coach, what does Jimbo Fisher bring, the addition of Jimbo Fisher bring to the conference and to the division?
Well, Jimbo's a great coach. He's won a national championship. He's a proven recruiter. He's in a hotbed of recruiters right here in Houston. It's going to be a tremendous challenge. I have a lot of respect for what he does.
We'll go all the way on the back. We'll go close.
Drew DeArmond, WCZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Coach Orgeron, first, it's a two-part question. First part, I know that Steve Ensminger's installing a spread offense. What did you see from an intangible and skill set standpoint that attracted you to sign Joe Burrow and bring him in as a graduate transfer? And the second part of the question, you got in addition to your strength staff in this first year, Connor Neighbors, former LSU fullback. How important is it for you to have former LSU Tigers come back and be a part of your program to be on the staff?
Yeah, well, I'm trusting Joe Burrow. As we know, we didn't sign a quarterback in 2018. And Bill Bush was on the staff at Ohio State. So when Joe Burrow's name came up, Bill gave him an outstanding recommendation. And as we researched, Joe was exactly the type of quarterback that we felt that could come in and compete at LSU. So those things were very important to us in the recruitment of Joe Burrow. As far as Connor Neighbors, I'd like to have 100 Connor Neighbors. I think that he is an outstanding young man. It's important that all ex-LSU football players come back. They believe in purple and gold. This is their university. We represent them. Connor brings a tremendous amount of energy, a tremendous amount of knowledge to our staff. He's very well respected.
Okay, Coach, we'll go over here on the right side and with that.
Yes, Coach, Dwayne Rankin, Montgomery Advertising. Obviously, LSU dropped 6 in a row to Alabama in part of the last 2. What have you gained in the previous 2 years that gives you confidence when they come back to back? You got that chance to win?
Yeah, I think each game is different. Like when you look at that first game, it was 0-0 going into the fourth quarter. Total effort. Their quarterback made some very good plays. You got to give him credit. They hung in there. We didn't finish the game. I think if you look at last year's game at Alabama, it was a physical contest. We felt that we could handle them physically and compete with them. And that was the first time I think our players felt that in a month. We missed some plays. We had DJ Chark open, we didn't hit them. Their passing game gave us problems. And their quarterback made plays and we didn't. Give Coach Saban and his staff and credit. They won the football game. Almost is not good enough against Alabama. But we feel that a couple of plays here and there and continue to be physically, we're going to be right in there with them.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left.
Garrett Spence, Florida Time Union. Coach, Commissioner Sankey said earlier today that because of the prospect of legalized sports gambling, that in the future SEC coaches may have to come up, or the conference may have to come up with a uniform injury reporting system, or at the very least an availability report. Do you think the coaches will eventually have to accept more of a standardized injury reporting system?
You know, that's what they have in the NFL, obviously. And, you know, that's out of my wheelhouse. I mean, if that's something that we have to do, I'll comply with it. But I have a lot of other things to think about with that.
Okay, we'll go all the way to the back on the left.
Julie Council wanted to find the game in Nashville. Coach, you spoke about Steve Insminger when he did as an interim for you as OC, but then when you got the job, you're looking to hire the best OC in over Matt Canada for 1 year. What gives you the confidence now, 2 years in, that Steve is the best decision for you as OC in LSU?
Just on a daily basis, working within the office, what I wanted an office coordinator, and that just going through last year, some of the things that we went through, I felt that Steve and I would be on the same page. The players respect Steve. He runs more of the offense than I'm used to, an offense that we won championship with in the past. So a combination of all those things, more comfortable with Steve. He's able to adapt to things that we want to do as a staff. I think he's an excellent game day caller. He knows how players. He's a great recruiter. Steve, a lot of people don't know about Steve Insminger as a recruiter, but he's done a tremendous job in the Shreveport area and done a tremendous job this year recruiting quarterbacks.
Hey, Coach, we're going to go to the right, 3/4 of the way back.
Matt Schiller, Coach, have you or your staff discussed the new red shirt rule and how you might end up using it?
Yeah, we obviously, every player is different, especially when they come in. Their maturity level is different. Some are ready to play, some are not. Those guys that are ready to play, we signed 22 freshmen last year. We played 20. But some of them started the first game and kind of hit that freshman ball and then play towards the end of the season. That would be a guy with obviously redshirt. A lot of guys are not ready to play very early. All of a sudden you get a couple of injuries. And then towards the end of the season, they get bigger, stronger, they get better in shape, they learn the system, and then you can play them. So it gives us more flexibility. Obviously, we can play every one of our freshmen that we could, and get redshirt them at the point that they could be redshirt, but take it to the fullest that we can and use those 4 games.
And we'll go down to the second row, Bob, from here to our left, Coach.
Bob Willards, our Democrat, is that you're going into your second full year at LSU. You're already in the middle of the pack in terms of tenure at your SEC school. What was it like going to spring meetings, having 5 new coaches in the league, and Dan Bowman in a new school, and just what do you think about the job security in this league, and what do you think about the new coaches coming in?
I was glad I had my seat at LSU. But, you know, this way you come to SEC, you know that the expectations are high. You know the expectations are high at LSU. So you invite those challenges. And you're going to play the SEC West, perhaps the best conference in the United States, and you're going to play against some of the best coaches. But you know what? Any competitor wants that. I think they've done a great job of bringing in some great coaches in the SEC West. Dan Bowman did a tremendous job at Mississippi State, now he's going to Florida. He's going to do a tremendous job, so it's a tough league. This way you come here.
Go over to the right section, and then you're out.
Coach Jason Butler, Lincoln Telegraph. It's a bit of a random question, but back when you were an assistant at Tennessee, is it true that you came up with the idea to use a helicopter to recruit players, and how has that changed recruiting in general?
Well, I don't know if I came up with the idea, but I do know this, that we were at Tennessee, and we were coming to recruit the city, and there were several games that we wanted to go to. And the only way to get to it was by helicopter, so that's the reason we did it down there. It was a big deal. The teams that we went to see, obviously everybody was looking up, and seeing Kiffin and I come in the helicopter, and other people started doing it. I don't know if it was our idea, but it was the reason we did it. We had to go several games all the way we could.
Coach, we'll go over here to the left. We're back.
Mike Griffith, Cox Media Group, Dog Nation. Coach, obviously Georgia hasn't played LSU in quite a while. For the Georgia fans that are going to be traveling down, and there's going to be a lot of them. What would you tell them that they should expect at Tiger Stadium, and what would you say about that environment there right now?
You know, obviously, Kirby's done a great job with Georgia Bulldogs. Tremendous team last year, tremendous recruiting classes. They're going to be a very tough opponent to play. That night, Tiger Stadium is going to be alive. It's going to be loud. There'll be a lot of tailgating. It should be a great college matchup in the SEC.
We'll go all the way to the back on this left side.
Hey, Coach. Steve Moulton, WZZN out of Huntsville, Alabama. I know you mentioned the quarterback competition.
for that first game out of the gate with Miami. Could you see this quarterback competition going into that game?
That's a good question. We would like it to be settled in fall camp. And we don't know if it's going to be or not, but we're going to have to name the starting quarterback. Now, there could be a possibility we don't want to do this, whether we play two quarterbacks if it's not settled or if it's even close. We don't see that happening, but if we have to do it, we can.
And we have time for a couple more. I will start up here in the center.
Zach out to Sporting News. Coach, you mentioned some factors that really made Joe Burrow stand out to you. What exactly were those that made you go after him so hard? And what does he bring to the quarterback competition at LSU?
We had an advantage. Bill Bush was on the staff at Ohio State with Joe. And Bill gave us an advanced scouting report with Joe Burrow. And he was exactly right. We've known Joe's dad for a while as a coach. Jimmy's been a coach for a long time, very respected coach. He comes from a very respected family. But it wasn't until we met Joe, we went out to dinner the first night, and then the next day we had a 3.5 to 4 hour meeting on football. And Joe was excellent in that. I think it's the first time his dad had heard talk football. Steve was running the meeting, obviously, going through some plays with Joe, some installation that we do, some things that he did at Ohio State, and he was excellent. And we felt that his knowledge of the game, his ability to run the offense, he could be a pro quarterback, he could run the football instead of playing with feet if he has to. He's very tough, he's a leader, and overall he's very smart, throws with anticipation and accuracy. We felt that he would add to the quarterback competition that we're already in.
We have time for two more. We'll start over here on the left.
Ed Lopez, the touch with you. Richard healthy now. What does he do to the defense when he's got you healthy?
He's a different spec, obviously. He's a leader. He leads by example. He plays with great technique. Richard plays that poor technique. Talk about PJ is excellent. Best I've ever seen. We feel that we're going to put this free technique, let him get in the field and be more disruptive and be even more of a dominant player this year.
All right, we'll take one final question to our right here, third row.
Ed Orgeron with ESPN. Ultimately, what are the qualities that will determine who your starting quarterback is? What do you need to see in August?
Day in, day out, operation and leadership, to be able to execute the offense, to be able to call protection, to make plays. Quarterback has to be able to make plays, but not everything is just right. They have to make smart decisions, accuracy to throw the football. We're going to throw the football at LSU. We're going to be 50-50. The understanding of the offense and the leadership. And you know what? We would love this to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I want this to be a clear-cut decision. I want our team to see it, our coaches have to see it in the game.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time.